Well, good Monday morning to you. Welcome to our live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox of Doctors Nutrition on Callan Road in Gulfport, located just south of Pash Road. This is the show where we talk about things that hopefully will help you lead a better lifestyle, a healthier lifestyle. And sometimes it's just by doing some simple things to improve your health.
Well, that's right.
A lot of people think, you know, the older we get, the harder it is. Maybe, but there are a lot of things that you can do that are just very simple that you can, you know, really extend and still have great quality in your health.
Yeah, and if you start early enough, you know, early on doing some things to benefit you, then the long term is you're going to be healthier when you do get
That's right. That's
older.
right.
I hate to use that word, but you know, more mature. Okay,
more mature.
Yeah,
we like
mature,
that.
Yeah.
Our phone lines are 896-0713, 800-349-0713. If you have a question for the doctors this morning, whether you would like to ask them personally or if you'd like to just pass the question along to our operator, and they will pass it along to us. So we're talking about health
Yes.
and the difference between health and health care.
Right.
Now, I'm thinking health care, I'm thinking insurance. But
Well,
Unfortunately.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's basically what you're talking about. You know, health is when you have the absence of disease. Notice when you're actually, everything's functioning as NASA would say, all systems go.
Right.
You know, that's health. You know, when you think about health care in America, it's more about, like you said, insurance and what will insurance cover. And, you know, that's, unfortunately, that's what we've deteriorated to in America today is, you know, we're dealing with chronic problems.
Well, they cover disease.
Disease. It's disease management.
If you don't have a diagnosis code for a disease, they're not going to cover it. So it's disease management is what it is. And so we wanted to stress is that people need to start taking care of their own health.
Yeah.
You don't want to wait until you're in that disease state. You know, why wait until you get there? Because sometimes it's maybe too late.
Well, is it important maybe to start by looking at your family's genetics? And
That's a good place to start.
And see
Definitely.
things that, you know,
Yeah.
well, you know, my family is prone to COPD or,
Yes.
you know, or
Heart
cancer,
disease
heart
or heart
disease,
disease,
anything
right.
like that.
Yeah.
Look at that ahead of time and say, okay, the chances are I may be prone for that too. A lot of it depends on your lifestyle.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's obviously how you change it.
Right.
Okay. But yeah, when you look at your genetics and you know, look at your family history, and if you look around your family history and they're all having diabetes and so on, then you need to start very early on preventing it or trying to prevent it. And you can.
But we did want to point out, just because it's not in your family does not mean you're not going to get it. We're
Right.
starting to see people get things that were never in their family because people are getting unhealthier.
Like
There
diabetes.
is no doubt. We have people every day that said, well, nobody in my family's diabetic. Well, you're the first.
Well-
you know, I mean, that's what we tell them every day.
Well, then you start going back and looking at different things regarding, again, our lifestyle. Lifestyle changes have been so
yeah.
much into it, and a lot of it's our diet. We talk about
Food
that all the
is a
time.
big thing, yeah.
And I mean, there was a big thing on this past weekend about sugar. Again, and we talk
there is
about
a
that.
lot-
all
What
the
was about
time.
sugar here?
That it could lead. I mean, that it was a tie-in. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's a tie-in between it and cancer.
Right.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
one of the statistics, and it's kind of spooky, but one of the statistics that's out there now shows us that 40% of all medical expenditures, and right now we're estimated to be spending somewhere around $3.8 trillion per year on healthcare. 40% of that can be directly tied back to sugar and sugar handling problems, prediabetes, diabetes, and heart disease, and so on, all things that's linked
That
to
leads
sugar.
to sugar.
Wow.
40%.
Jamie from Gulfport, our first caller on the phone this morning. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What can we do for you, Jamie?
I'm calling to see if there's something that I could do for what the doctors call carpal tunnel syndrome. My two fingers and thumb are numb on both hands and tingles real bad, but they think I need the surgery for that. But I don't want to go that route. What can I do?
Well, possibility that, you know, I mean, there's a possibility that you may have to have the surgery to fix that. Something that's used a lot for it is the activated form of vitamin B6. It's
Yes.
called pyridoxal 5-phosphate.
We get good results with that.
Yeah, you can go high enough in it, and it's actually shown to help that. And of course, at the same time, you know, vitamin B12 is extremely important in any kind of nerve and nerve health. So, you know, there's so many things that go into that, Janie, that you just need to look at the whole thing and not just one thing. There's not a magic pill for it, unfortunately, but the the B12, the B6.
The activated B6 is probably what I've seen work the
That
best.
seems to, but you want the supporting things like, for instance, we know that the myelin sheath around the nerves are very, very needy, if you will, for the omega-3s and the fatty acids, or certain fatty acids, even the lecithin, things like that. So there's a whole host of things that
and
you
if
can
there's
do.
any repetitive motion that you're doing that is aggravating it, you have to get rid of that repetitive motion. Because I always say you want to always try to look at the cause. And
Right.
a lot of carpal tunnel is due to a repetitive motion. And even if you have to do a repetitive motion for your job, you can find a different way of doing it.
Or use a brace or something.
Yeah, a
on the
brace
hands,
or
right.
something, because that definitely affects it.
No doubt.
All right, thank you
All right,
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. 896-0713, 800-349-0713. We're talking about health and health care this morning on our show, and the ways to lead a healthier life. And there are so many different things. And again, the old friend sugar. We were talking
Sugar,
about.
Yes,
yeah,
we were talking about that.
that statistic about 40% of all healthcare expenditures. Now that's a lot of money. If we're doing somewhere around 3.8 trillion, and that's what's been estimated this year. And if you look at that and take 40% of that, that's a lot of money. And it's all related back to things that can be controlled through diet and lifestyle.
Yep.
Or
And
health at
also
least.
this
Yeah.
weekend, we were reading a research paper that had just come out, because we try to keep up with the most recent research. And one of the studies that came out was saying that if you ate, a lot of people are real good during the week and they're bad on the weekend on their food. And the study showed that's just as bad as eating junk food all the time. They showed
They
that
call it their cheat day.
cheat day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
well-
and what they showed was that it messes up the gut bacteria to eat like that. And so messing up the gut bacteria, it only took a few days a week to do it. So, and then it never recovers until you do it again.
Yeah, you don't have enough
So,
time to
right.
recover. So, and not only that, you start, if you're highly, insulin resistant, say, and people say, well, I'm going to be really good all week and, I'll have a cheat day on the weekend. Okay, so you're good all during the week, but it takes longer than a week to turn that insulin resistance around. So you never get really started. You start getting healthy, and then you do something to wham, set you back. Then next week you start getting healthy, and then boom, you're right back. So, it's kind of a yo-yo effect, if you will, that really doesn't help us.
Our phone lines are 896-0713, 800-349-0713. If you have a question for the doctors this morning, give us a call. It's our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox of Doctors Nutrition. They're located on Callan Road in Gulfport, south of Pass Road. Taking your phone calls at 896-0713, 800-349-0713. And Todd from Poplarville is on the phone with us. Good morning, Todd. What is your question for the doctors?
I have swelling in my leg, my lower leg.
Okay.
One or both?
Both, but one swells and is larger than the other.
Okay.
Have you had an injury to that leg?
I did a few months back.
Okay. Is it worse since the injury?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay. Now, I guess your question is, what could you do, maybe, or?
Well, the doctor put me on a fluid pill,
Right.
and it seemed to help, but it's not going away. And he changed the fluid pill, and it's still not getting. It's better, but not like it should be. And I don't really like taking fluid pills if I don't have to. But and I'm a little overweight, so I'm thinking that might have a lot to do
Yeah,
with
if you're
it.
overweight,
Oh,
the first
okay.
thing to do is to change that diet and get rid of the sugar, because one of the things that affects swelling in the legs definitely is circulation. And the heavier you are and the more pressure that you have on those legs, it's going to make more swelling. And if you have an injury, it just makes it worse because you do affect the circulation as well. So things for circulation is what I would say. We have something even called bromelain, which is an enzyme from pineapple, but it decreases inflammation and increases circulation. And it does help when there's been an injury.
It does. Because like Janine said, one of the things that happens if you've got these injuries and if your overall health is kind of not where it should be, then it's time to start getting overall healthier. Not just, you don't want to just focus in on the leg. I mean, granted, that's your main problem. But at the same time, look at everything and start getting healthy overall, Todd. I think that's the key to it.
We do find that people that are heavier, overweight, and unhealthy tend to have more swelling in the lower legs.
It's all about lymphatic drainage and all that.
So you want to get overall healthier for one, and if you come by, we'll definitely give you a sheet that tells you the best foods to eat and how to start changing that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Tell you from personal experience about the bromelain, because Kim takes that because her arm,
Right.
because with her crocheting and then with, doing the soap and
Right.
everything with all that, and it stays aggravated, and then
sore.
she started taking that, and it's really helped it. So,
It does. Well, it helps inflammation, and a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
times
what she's had.
there's a lot of inflammation. Just like he talked about, taking the fluid pill has not completely got rid of it because it's not just fluid.
Right.
A lot of times there's a lot of inflammation in there, and especially when there's been an injury or a repetitive motion like your wife. Anytime you do something repetitive to an area, you're going to make more inflammation.
Exactly.
All right. 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Our phone lines are open to you. If you have a question for the doctors regarding our subject today or anything in particular, you are welcome to call in and talk to them. We'll be here for about another 17, 18 minutes.
Yeah,
Something
we'll
like
be here a
that,
little
yeah.
bit longer.
A little bit longer. But again, we're talking about health and health care.
Right. You know, something that's kind of interesting when you look at health and health itself. I mean, that's our health. It's not somebody else's. You wouldn't, just turn something over to somebody that's that important to you and say, here, you manage it. That's not a wise decision. It's up to you or us to start taking care of our own health. And there's so many things that, people say, well, I have my Healthy You every year, the little thing that the insurance company pays for. And that's just basically to see if you're breathing.
It does,
I mean, seriously.
it does very little.
Very little. But when it comes down to, like for instance, just over the weekend, or the other day, we were looking at a research article about vitamin B12. And it shows that the people that have dementia, and look around you. I promise you, know somebody that has dementia and or Alzheimer's. And it's becoming, rampant. I mean, it's becoming an epidemic almost in our society. And this little article was talking about B12, and what they did was they took post-mortem after people had died. They took brain samples and saw how much it was.
And it wasn't just about dementia. It
No,
was
it was
also about autism, and it also looked at schizophrenia. So it was looking at some things that they know affect the brain. And their studies, because we even thought when they did this, they said the B12 levels might be normal in the blood, but they weren't in the brain. And so, of course, the first thing we do is go look up the research to find out how did they find out what was in the brain. Well, it was post-mortem. They waited until people died and biopsied the brain. I was like, I didn't know there, because I was even thinking, is there a test where we can test that? Well, no.
Unfortunately, no.
Not really, not easy. But what they showed
Not
was
in office.
No.
even when the B12 is adequate in the blood, it may not be adequate in the brain.
And the range on that B12
It's huge.
is so big, you could drive this TV station in it, I mean, it goes from like 211 up to like 948 is what the lab reference ranges are. And if you're at 212, they're going to tell you, oh, you're okay. No, you're not. Obviously, from this study, you would want to be on the higher end of that range to make sure that you've got adequate B12 in your body so that your brain has got a chance of getting some.
Wow.
Right.
And another study showed that if you don't have the omega-3 fatty acids, doesn't matter how much.
Can't use the B12 you have anyway for the brain. So there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Elaine from Pascagoula is on the phone with us. Good morning, Elaine. What's your question for the doctors?
Yes. I have a sciatic nerve that's been giving me bad problems.
Okay.
What would be the best treatment?
Have you seen a chiropractor for that, Elaine?
I had been.
I would suggest, that. I mean, that's, it being a structural
structural
problem, typically, there's not any pill that's going to make that go away. So,
Right.
I would suggest, going back to see that chiropractor, or if you didn't get good results, find you another one. Talk to some friends and
Right.
neighbors and see if you can find another one and try
also
that.
maybe doing some of the natural
Oh.
anti-inflammatories, like
They'll
the
help.
omega-3 fatty acids and some of the bromelain that we mentioned, and we
Right.
even have something called phyto-4. But still, in the end, fixing the problem is the best thing, and that is actually an area that probably is best to go to a chiropractor.
Yeah.
And if you have access to the internet, you can actually go online, and there are some exercises that you can
There are.
do.
Oh yeah,
from,
exercises
from
help as
sci-
well.
for the sciatic problems.
Yeah, sure.
Brenda from Biloxi is on the phone. Good morning, Brenda. What's your question for the doctors?
I was just wondering, is it common for them to take, when they take your gallbladder out, to leave the clamps in?
Leave the what now?
The clamps?
The clamps.
Well, they're going to use some surgical clips or staples,
Yeah,
if you will.
yeah.
Yeah. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, they left the clamps in.
You might want to talk more to a surgeon
yeah.
about that because it depends on probably what type of clamps. I know that there's little clamps that your body can actually break off and pass after a certain amount of time. But without knowing exactly what it is, it's hard to answer that one.
Right.
We've heard of accidentally leaving scalpels in there.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, okay, 896-0713, 800-349-0713. Those are our phone lines. They're open to you to call in and ask the doctors regarding your health and things that you can do to live a healthier lifestyle. We'll be right back with today's special, this week's special. And welcome back to our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy with Dr. Jim and Janine Fox of Doctors Nutrition, Callan Road in Gulfport. They're on just south of Pash Road. And matter of fact, they're open from 10 to 5, Monday through Friday, 11 to 2 on Saturdays. The doctors are there Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Dr. Mays is there on Wednesday and Friday.
Right.
So, we're taking your phone calls. Robin from the Kilt is on the phone with us this morning. Good morning, Robin. What's your question for the doctors?
Good morning. I have more of a comment. My mother had cancer some years ago, and when they said it was all gone, and she went through the chemo and everything, when they said it was all gone, they did a test for that cancer, and part of that test was sugar.
Right.
And they said, why? You know, they had radioactive something and sugar. And I said, why sugar? And they said, because the cancer goes to the sugar and eats it. And I went, oh, my gosh.
What's funny is on the break, we were just telling him about the PET scan, which is what they call it. And it uses radioactive sugar. And what it does is it looks for areas of hot spots to see what soaks up the sugar, because a cancer will soak up sugar way quicker than any of the cells. So you're right. That's definitely a good point to make to people.
Great observation.
To point out that sugar does feed it.
Definitely. Thank you, Robin, for your call. 896-0713, 800-349-0713. I know we have some more calls probably coming in, but let's real quick get to this week's special.
Yeah. Since we're talking about health and we're trying to get healthy, one thing that we all need is some sort of antioxidant. Now, if you come by the store this week, sign up for your email. Just give us your email and sign up for our newsletter. We'll give you a bottle or let you buy a bottle of Super Oxy Pro for $5. Normally it's like $27.50.
Wow.
So, and something like that, it's just something you take one a day.
Right.
Super antioxidant.
One a day. It's a good antioxidant. It actually has milk thistle and turmeric and green tea and resveratrol and bacopa. So there's actually a lot of things in it that's really good for you.
Right.
Okay. All right. Gia from Bogalusa, Louisiana on the phone with us. Good morning, Gia. What's your question?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, fine. How are you?
I wanted to ask a question. I was diagnosed with enlarged thyroid about 4 years ago. I had been back and forth to the doctor. I had my weight. I can't lose weight because I don't eat that much, and I was wondering why the weight loss was there, the weight gain was there.
Well,
and I had a biopsy done years ago, and they said it was non-cancerous.
Okay, good. So what I was going to tell you is you want to make sure that you don't have any nodules in there that have cancer. But we do see a lot of people with the thyroid enlargement.
One thing that I'm going to ask you, Gia, have you had your iodine levels checked?
Yes, they did about 2 years ago.
What was it?
They said that I didn't need surgery. I need to be under medication. But I noticed some hair loss. I noticed my hair is coming out. And I noticed I'm having problems with my eyesight.
Okay. Now, when I ask about the actual iodine level in your blood, now that's rare for them to do that. So
actually, it's not rare. You were probably thinking they did the radioactive iodine uptake test. And checking, most people that we see that we check the actual iodine, it's low. And so we do a test where you can check iodine. And iodine deficiency make goiters, which is enlargement of the thyroid.
Exactly.
And when you have enlargement of the thyroid, there may be some factors. And a lot of times you may be falling within that range on thyroid, but you may be at the ends of the ranges. So you can either get us a copy of your lab work, and we'll be happy to look at it, or we can do lab work. We do have something called a weight loss panel. And it does check 4 different values on the thyroid. We can add that iodine test to it as well. So give us a call, and really looking more at your lab work, we can probably give you better answers.
Okay.
Thanks, Gia.
Thank you.
Thanks for the call from Bogalusa this morning. 896-0713, 800-349-0713. We have just under 5 minutes left in the show, so if you have a question for the doctors regarding your health or anything in particular that is on your mind, we would appreciate if you give us a call, and we'll let you talk to the doctors or just pass the question along to them. But our whole morning this morning has been kind of dedicated to health.
Right.
And the difference between health and health care.
And how important it is to take care of your own health. if you want to truly be healthy, you need to find out what the underlying problems are. You want to do prevention. And like we said before, you know, most insurance companies they don't pay for true wellness, and they don't pay for prevention.
Yeah.
They'll do that Healthy You, which has very few tests on it. So if you're really interested in being healthy, maybe get a full panel of lab work done, which we do all the time. You come in, we'll talk to you, see which one might be the best for you. If you do have a lot of cardiac issues in the family, there's even extra cardiac tests like a homocysteine and C-reactive protein. Because even like homocysteine, which is something that we're seeing a lot, it is an elevated level in the blood. It definitely damages arteries. It hardens the arteries. It causes dementia. It causes heart problems. They've shown that once the damage is done, it's hard to reverse that damage. But if you can prevent it in the first place, then it definitely can help you long term.
Exactly.
Orlando from Pascagoula is on the phone with a question. Good morning, Orlando. What's your question for the doctors?
All right. Yes, I was just calling about. I had thought. Let me go in my phone just come. I went to the doctor in the 80s. So my foot, you know, they were swelling up like rocks, and I had went, but they gave me some medicine. I was taking. I hadn't took none since in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Because he told me he could stop eating macaroni and cheese. I stopped eating macaroni and cheese, and I hadn't been to the doctor. My feet hadn't swelled since.
Huh. I'm not sure what, if you had now is it gout or is it?
It was gout because I had those rocks coming up under my foot like I couldn't hardly walk.
Yeah, it's possible gout, yeah.
I went to the doctor for it at first, and they still were doing it with them little orange pills they gave.
Yeah.
And that's what he told me. And
definitely, if stopping macaroni and cheese helped you, don't eat macaroni and cheese. That's for sure.
There you go.
If I ain't eating, ain't no need me going to get another checkup, is it?
Now, it can be other foods, too, that aren't quite good for you that can cause it as well.
He told me the red meat.
Yeah.
And,
well,
and cheesecakes and stuff like that.
Yeah, sweets are a
biggie.
And it sounds like if he told you red meat, it might be gout. I mean, it sounds like it's possible, and gout can come and go depending on what you eat.
Yeah, well, I eat sweet. I eat all kinds of sweet, but I drank 2 Diet Cokes a month.
Okay.
So the Diet Coke, he said that was just, the Diet Coke will give me an appetite.
No.
I would definitely say don't drink. None of those drinks are good for you, whether it be diet or regular, because the diet drinks have some sort of chemical in it to sweeten it that's been proven to damage the brain. There's a book out there by Russell Blaylock, and it's called Excitotoxins, The Taste That Kills. And he's either a neurologist and he's in Mississippi, and he's written a book, and it's actually a really good book if you want to see what the damage to the diet drinks do to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
And somebody had just called and left a message. We've talked so much about full panels.
Yes.
Doing full blood panel. What is the cost of a full blood panel?
Okay, depending on which one you do.
Depending on which one, our basic, full panel that would catch everything, the thyroid, the sugar handling issues and stuff like that, is $160. And if you went to, anybody else and had that done, it's probably going to cost you a lot.
And you can get even farther if you go into the cardiac, some of the extra cardiac tests. You can go to one panel has 210. There's another panel that's 270, and then there's what we call the super panel, which even does all your hormones, does even a lot of extra tests, does everything that every other panel does, and it's 370. So I mean, it depends on what you want to do. Depends on
what level you want to go.
Our 160 panel is more the lab work than most people's ever had.
All right. Well, let's show you the special real quick again before we get out of here and talk about what we're going to talk about next week.
Yes, we're going. Well, next week is Open Line Monday.
It's Open
That's
Line.
right. It is.
Next week.
Man,
Isn't that the beginning of February?
Wow. Okay, so next week is Monday's always the first Monday of the month. It will be February already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it will.
It'll be
Mardi Gras before you know it.
Open Line Monday, so that'll be next Monday, 896-0713, 800-349-0713. Write those numbers down and give us a call back next week. And always try to live healthy and be healthy. Have a great, great day. Stay warm.